Good afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you to tune into every Saturday afternoon. I'm here today doing the same thing I've been doing ever since we started the show, trying to make sense out of a sensitive situation called the plight of veterans in the USA and the USA with the plight of veterans. I'm your host, Elson McGee, and I'm here with my brother in Christ and sidekick, Tony. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Ooh-wee.
Good.
I wish you had next. But it's all good, brother. Listen,
Yeah.
like I did, today I've been thinking, man, I want to walk with Trump. I mean, really, I like to have a walk with him, just so we can talk, in a way that he can help me understand and to help, veterans, period, understand what the heck is he doing with the VA? What make him feel they need to be cutting benefits, mass fine at the only entity in this country that's responsible for caring for veterans, especially those that have been injured, rendered disabled by their military service. The audacity of that is overwhelming. I just want to walk with the guy. I'm not on that horse to say we need to wait and see and let it develop. Some things you're supposed to stop in its tracks. Yeah. There's some things. So I usually don't go picking up statistics and looking at reports because I know that you can make a report say whatever you want to say, but it's something. When I was looking at the 2024 annual homeless assessment report, which is to Congress, that's what comes from all of these states and entities in the states, including VA, that report the homeless stats. How many people sleeping on the streets in this country. Now, they say in 2024 there was about 777,000 of Americans on the streets in our country. Now, that's not a whole lot of people, right? But it is a lot of people, right? It's not a whole lot of people when you consider we a little over 300 million people in this country. That's not. But now, when you look at the government property report, and just what government own.
Right.
Government own this. It belongs to the taxpayers. You're going to see that right this minute we got more housing space, buildings that government own. You ain't got to buy. Then you got homeless people sleeping on the streets in this country. So there's a moral problem taking place in America. And, I'm waiting on the church to start crying out about it. I'm waiting. I want to hear it. I want to hear it from the pulpits because I'm not. I hear some people talking about we're going to take care of the least of these, but, at the end of the day, they go home in their comfort and they're forgetting about what's going on with over 700,000 Americans, and a large percentage of those are veterans who have served in the U.S. military of this country. And another issue, Tony, that I know Tony Barr with Frontline Community Services be holding this annual event where we're lining up with ambulances to show right now that in America today, 17, the government say 17. We're still saying 17 to 22 veterans are committing suicide. These are young people going into the military, being traumatized or exposed to toxics that change their mental capacities for good behavior.
Yep.
So, but the news from VA is that they're cutting benefits fine staff. Veterans need to come together.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to just walk with Trump. I want to have a talk with Trump. I know he had the riches to avoid military service, but he's not smarter than the generals when it comes down to running the U.S. military. And this thing that he did with, I'm gonna let you talk something. I'm gonna get off that, man, because
it is challenging to sit and observe what he's doing. Well, to sort of get off key just a little bit and use a term that you hear in the press, is him and his co-president are doing to this country. It's devastating, and we're just talking about the military arm of our citizenry.
Yeah. We're just talking about a small percentage.
A small percentage of it
that get the biggest budget. Excuse me, man. I had to say that.
Yeah, a small part of the budget that is impacting a small part of the citizenry. But the challenge I have is that that small part of the citizenry, pledged and served this country willingly.
And Tony, not just us served it, our family served it with us.
That's true. You're right.
They made a sacrifice for us.
Yeah. And to see how we are being treated. That's
what bothers me more than how we're being treated. I'm worried about how we accepting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm concerned with how we're putting up with it. Listen, the military code of conduct. You know, you do what you were trained to do when you were trained to do it and how you were trained to do it. If you don't do that, the first thing they do is take some money from you. They don't pay you much, but they take some of that.
Yep.
They call Article 15 to guide your conduct into submission to the military way. And that's a sacrifice for our families, our communities, and we need to start looking at it like that, because right now I feel taxation without representation.
Yep.
That's what I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like they are spitting on me again. When I came home from Vietnam, and one of the most horrendous wars of this century, where thousands of us was drafted into the military service to do a war that they could have won in 6 months.
Yep.
Could have won it in 6 months. But it took them 13 years, and 58,000 of my peers were killed for nothing. Then they surrendered the cause.
Yep.
And then they're going to blame me for losing the war. Only in America that we could talk about this, but like the way it's going, I see him moving on the press. You know, they're scared to say things. They're moving on the university system where they're caving in when they start talking about diversity and inclusion.
And the interesting thing about that, I'm trying to keep it nice and safe, is the military. The makeup of the military.
6%.
Inclusive.
And 6%.
Everybody
is in the
served in all sections and portions and communities within this country served in the military, and a major portion of it, of us, served honorably.
Yes,
of the numbers of us that volunteered.
Well, let me start right now.
Okay.
Let me just salute my grandson and all the other young men that's serving right now, and young women that say, listen.
That volunteered.
Yes, serve on.
Yes.
But understand this, you don't have to take a bad order.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the military code of conduct. You don't have to take a bad order. Matter of fact, you should not follow a bad order. Okay, Tony. I'm just going back to my military stuff, man.
Yes.
It matters.
Yeah. It mattered. And the thing about that is we served honorably.
Tell them what that means, Tony. You know, because a lot of people don't understand when you say you serve honorably. You submitted to a lot of
We that was a draft, a portion of it, but we had those of everybody was not drafted. Mm-hmm. There are literally thousands of us that volunteered because we wanted to serve our country.
Yeah.
And a major portion of us wasn't really focused on the benefits that we were going to receive as a matter of our service, because we wanted to. Our country was at war, and so we wanted to serve. We felt as citizens of this country that we should do whatever is necessary to serve our country, to save our country, and so we served honorably. We volunteered. You know, not really focusing on the benefits that we were going to receive. We knew there were benefits as a result of our service, but we were never focused on it when we were volunteered, because the benefits of serving the military was going to, we felt that we were going to get training that was going to benefit us and our family and our community for the rest of our lives. So it wasn't a challenge for some of us to raise our hand and serve honorably.
Yeah. You know? And now it's time that we make people understood that's what we serve for.
Yes.
We serve for that. And the country, you know, as it was constituted then and constituted now, where the Congress itself is the only entity that can raise or cut revenue, money.
Yeah.
Right? To spending. And they're the only one that can establish or unestablish an agency like the Department of Education.
Yes.
The Congress don't even have the capacity to fire a government employee just because you want to get rid of them, right? We got a system of laws set up where these people are protected because they are rendering a service to the country.
Yes.
And now when you get some bad ones in there, they got ways to root those people out and you know, identify them and root them out if you would do it. And we know that with a country growing the way it is, the government has to grow with the country, or it's not going to be able to perform the duties that it is established to do. It was never established for one dictator or one party or one part of the community. Oh, yes, it was. I forgot. They talking about us going back to slavery.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Let me say something. I'm gonna whisper this in there. We ain't going back.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what we see is that we want peace and keeping it right, but it don't have to be peaceful if they don't want to comply. You know, there's a thing that you must comply with the constitutional order. A judge in this country recently ordered this administration to stop the immigration push because they was not giving these people due process.
Yes.
And if we watch it and don't stand up with it and say, because if he denied them due process, then we're leaving him open to deny anybody else due process. We can't wait for the next election. We have to rally in every community, in every household, and throughout the community and say right now to these congressmen, if you vote for anything else that carry out these policies that this rogue president, you know, I mean, I'm walking with him. I want to walk with him now because I want him to hear me. It's not following the constitutional order.
Exactly.
If we let him continue down this course of lawlessness, then we don't have a democracy because he'd already shown he don't have no respect for people. He don't have any sensitivity for anybody that come out against him. And, you know, that don't bother some of us. Bullying, you don't care about the bullying. You know, because he forgot that too many of us have been through the U.S. military.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Too many of us. So we are equipped to defend our communities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so the little thugs that he pardoned, if the police don't kill them, they get in our neighborhoods with any trash. They'll see what they need to see.
Yep.
You know, so he need to get, you know, right now, we want to keep it peaceful. The way we need to rally to every congressman in every neighborhood that's against this mess. And, you know, you got most Americans are against this mess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what they done did, we have allowed him to separate us. So we got this community over here saying, well, we ain't gonna do it, but all of us caught up in the same mess because we allowed them to split us up with the election, right? You know, he was good at, the devil is good at manipulating your thinking and your actions.
Mm-hmm.
But now we got to rally together, and we got to rally the congressmen, right? All we got to do is rally the congressmen, because they got to vote. He can't do none of this stuff that he's doing without their approval. And if he continue to do that, if the courts give an order, he can be arrested for treason. I mean, we got to let him know that the Constitution works in the mind of veterans all over this country.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to stand up and have him step on our service and destroy our government, and we stand up like we don't know no better. This is a rally for veterans and all thinking Americans to come together. Go to the Congress.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Congress that we got to make move, not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot, man. I'm walking with the man, Mr. President.
Yeah, but
it's not you.
Yeah,
But we got to stop.
Yeah. The interesting thing, I'm trying to keep it clean and not get upset. The interesting thing about that is he has now created a situation where even people in his party don't want to talk to their constituents.
Listen, that's why we need to talk to them.
Yes.
We need to talk to all the people. Then come on out. Let's make sure that these congressmen understand right now that Donald Trump don't have a base that's stronger than the voice of the people that's standing up right now.
Yeah.
Because see, he done hoodwinked people to make things. Yeah, he got a few racist rednecks that's gonna follow him to death. That's it. That's their business.
Yes.
What I'm talking about is the Constitution of these United States that I swore to uphold. Mm-hmm. Right? You swore to uphold.
Exactly.
To the death. We have to realize that they trained us to protect it, to stand up for it, and following walls that didn't really have nothing to do with it. It was a business.
Yeah.
It was business back then, and it's business now. You know, so we're gonna stop and not make us think that wall don't pay the billionaires.
Yeah.
Eisenhower said this, and Trump been bullying because he's trying to change the axiom in the world order right now, and aligning himself away from the European Union,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to cause war, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to embolden Putin to try to reestablish the old Russian Empire, which is Poland, right, Harlem, and all those countries in there. Listen, I know that veterans have not forgotten about those of us that died to protect this democracy. We're not going to stand up and say it don't matter because you like his politics, or you feel like, well, he's right about the diversity not being included. Well, you know, you calling God a lie then.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not worried with you. You know, I'm talking about what's true and real. We're all one people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and God created all of us equal. He gave me 2 eyes, gave you 2 eyes, he gave them 2 eyes. And you know what? We got same color blood too.
Yep.
I seen it on the battlefield, bro. Same color blood. And we need to not let ourselves be caught up in the lies and the deception. This man don't have the authority to do most of the stuff he's talking about doing. It's in the hands of Congress. If they don't approve the legislative changes, he can't do nothing but carry out the law as it is legislated for him to do so, or be impeached for failing to do his duties.
Yeah.
We can't wait 4 more years with this. We got to go to our congressmen, our senators that we elected and tell them, stop the craziness.
Yeah.
Stop the crazy. Stop rubber stamping this crazy stuff. And if you do it, you're not going to be reelected, and he's not going to be successful in doing what he's doing because we're not going to cooperate with him.
Well, a portion of the nation is not going to cooperate.
I got on my John Lewis shirt, man.
He's got his party who will not stand up against him for anything he's doing. They are basically, to use an overused term, rubber stamping anything he says, anything he wants to do. And I'll repeat it again, his constituency, those Republicans that voted for him, now wanted for him and members of his party, won't even talk to their constituency about what he's doing.
Because you know what? Because it's not what he led them to
Exactly.
believe
Yes.
he was going to do in the campaign. Now, you know, everybody like to cut waste and fraud and all that stuff. So, you know, and then you got to talking, we got to separating us about people. Like, and I want all those that call themselves Christian to listen to this, please, because you need to stop doing it. Period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hate the sin, but love the sinner.
Mm-hmm.
Hate the sin, but love the sinner. And let God be the judge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we are too judgmental of each other, right? I forgot I'm preaching tomorrow. I can't preach today. But we got, listen, bro,
yeah.
we got to get back to the word in our community and you know, and be that word that we know is right.
Yeah.
You know, now God gonna judge all that. He didn't already judge it. He just give them time to repent. But if they don't repent, God got it. He got it. What we got to do is practice the love of God in our community right now, because we got young people killing each other like dogs.
Yeah.
Because we got all these guns in our community. Okay. We got all these guns in our community. Mm-hmm. And we ain't saying nothing about that. They done took our attention away from that right now with this crazy mess.
It's called distraction.
Yeah.
The problem still exists.
Yeah.
But that's not something that he wants to talk about or discuss, or even the sad part about it, he doesn't even want to solve that problem because it serves as a distraction for all the other stuff that he's doing.
And then it serves as a confirmation for some of the stuff that he's doing.
Yes.
You know, I can remember when I was much younger, man, we had a right-wing talk show host called Neil Boyd.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to try to take all this over that time. But listen, I didn't come here, I'm from here, so they know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I know what I'm talking about because this is my hometown.
Yes.
You know, I'm a Grady baby and proud of it. Listen, I love my hometown. But Neil Boyd said something, and I watched Brian Kemp implement it. He said, you know how we can solve the problem in Atlanta, which the problem in Atlanta is all these millionaires and doctors we are creating. That's the problem, right? You know, they don't like that, but they take the deviance and highlight it in the news so they get the white folks scared to come to Atlanta. You know, they had them scared. Now they're coming back and want to take over the city.
Exactly.
You know, but we will talk about that enough.
Yeah. The interesting part of that is when Neil Boyd was doing that, integration was happening at the same time. And so all of a sudden now we're moving into we were at that time moving into some of those neighborhoods, and they were moving out as fast as they could.
As we move in.
As we were moving in, they were moving out, and the demographics of the city of Atlanta changed significantly, along with some of the surrounding communities and everything. But then once they realized what they had done, now the children and the grandchildren of those people that ran are now moving back.
And then let me tell you what else happened to. Then there came another veteran called Albert E. Love.
Yes.
Albert E. Love. And Albert E. Love organized that belt.
Yes.
Listen, man, all them cities got black folk, man.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Listen, they were scared Atlanta was going to get it. All them folks, man, that's what education did for us.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then they're going to dismantle the education department. Man, you doing too much.
Yeah.
He just doing too much. He need to understand, get somewhere and sit down and let the government be ran like you say you going to do. We're going to get rid of some of that mess in there.
Yes.
We need to. But you ain't got no billionaire fine folks like they don't mean nothing. And, these folks got families and stuff, man. You don't do no stuff like that. They don't terrorize nobody that's working at VA because I still get my treatment out there,
really?
Tony. They put me on a machine and I don't wake up.
But you're right. They got families. These families have mortgages. These families have car notes. These families have college tuition for these kids. And he's slowly taking our economy down and causing struggle. So all of a sudden now we have tension in areas we never had that during previous administration.
Listen, man, you got these folks working in government so scared now they don't know what to do.
Yes.
Then they shouldn't be like that, man. We need people to run our governments.
Yes.
And they got him scared. He didn't listen. He doing away with the Department of Education. Talking about he's gonna put student loans on the SBA.
Yeah.
Listen, veterans.
Yeah.
Veterans. I'm just talking about right now. I'm talking to our peers, Tony. Cause see, we are veterans talking to veterans. We got to wake up, bro, sister girl. We still too quiet.
Yep.
We too quiet with this, and now we listen. Look at it and think about it. If this stuff had happened in your military unit when you was in the military, you know what would have happened.
Yep.
All y'all would have went to jail. All y'all went to jail. You gonna sit by and let these people dismantle all the protections of our government?
Yes. The thing about it is, not just recently, but our forefathers saw this and put into the Constitution ways of preventing this to happen. Yet he comes in with his co-president and is attempting to dismantle
and buy our Congress.
Yes.
He got this Congress rubber stamp. You just said rubber stamp and everything he want to do. And ain't even talking back to the people that elected them.
Exactly.
We need to show these congressmen that they've been duped because the base trying to hear from you. The base want to know what you doing up there because it ain't what John Trump had these people believing that he was gonna do. He didn't tell them that Taft was gonna raise all the prices that they spend and get every day. He told them that it was going to bring a lot of money for the government.
Yeah.
And they didn't even go look and see what Taft is. They got duped.
Yeah. The scary part about it is most of us constituents realize that if it's going to cost more for them, they're going to turn around and charge us to cover what it's costing them.
Now, let me show you something else too, Tony, that I want people to think about. All these billionaires around them are multinationals, right?
Yes.
They're multinationals, all of them. They benefit from tariffs on the import and the export, bro.
Exactly. Yes.
From the import and the export, because they're multinational corporations. They're on both sides of the fence, getting money, and the people are suffering because the prices are going up.
Yep.
Listen, I know you've been duped. right? We've been duped.
Yep.
You know, those of us that went for it and they upset, Tony, we got to get away from this separation in our community. Right now, it's a call to unity. It's a call to unity, and they got to start by going to these congressmen that he done scared to death, right? Tell them, okay, that's over, bro.
Yeah.
You know, because now if you don't cooperate with him, the courts ain't gonna cooperate with him. The people ain't gonna cooperate with him. He's gonna be out of office. Him and the vice president and the speaker of the house
And the co-president.
Yeah, and the matter of fact, we're gonna get the co-president because see, he need to be under quarantine right now because this guy that he appointed to the Pentagon done exposed him to all kind of missions of the Pentagon.
Yes, we're slowly losing the power of our government for operating. We have no idea what's going on. We're completely, and they definitely don't know what's going on.
They don't know what's going on. Listen, we know what's going on. They are taking over our government. This has been an invasion, and they're taking over our government, and they're going to change the government. This is why they want to get the control of the government so bad. So they feel like once we got control of the government, we can do anything we want to, and we'll have control of the people, right? Listen, bro, you better go back and read that Constitution that you're messing with, because it calls for the people to stand up when they go through stuff like this.
You know,
that's part of the Constitution.
We're getting indications of him being held accountable by the judges and the laws. They're calling him to task that this is what the government is not really authorized to do. And as he does that, and these cases are brought up before these lawyers, they're saying you can't do that.
Well, see, sooner or later, because now he putting the thug element in there too, because now he got these folks threatening the judges, you know, and this is something that we need to check, man, because we cannot wait till he get full control of our government to respond to the direction that he's going. The only thing we got to do right now, the community got to rally together, unity, and we're going to these congressmen and senators that got to approve these things that he's doing. And then when they don't approve it, the court's not approve it, then he's in violation of the law. You know, we got to understand we have a Constitution. That Constitution not only guides the conduct of the government, it also invokes the conduct of the people. And we need to understand that the courts are not to be, listen, I'm a convicted felon. You know, I know that I had to surrender myself to the laws of this country. You know, and that's what everybody agree as a citizen to do. Otherwise, you run the red light when you want to. You know, we all agreed to this compact, and now that we see that somebody that's in charge of our government is violating this compact, and with completely disregard for us, the people, then the people got to react.
Yep.
The Constitution called for the people to react in a certain way. We need to go to our congressmen and make it clear. You not rubber stamping anything else, and all this stuff about that he's doing that's illegal. The Supreme Court need to revisit that decision that they gave him, right? Because nobody is above the law. We never had that. It was a close vote then, right? But if the people start standing up for what they know our government is supposed to do, and don't nobody know what our government is supposed to do better than veterans. You know what it's supposed to do, because you done performed anything for it. You did what you were supposed to do, or you wouldn't even have an honorable discharge, bro. See, I want to go back to that because I don't think they understand. When you said we got an honorable discharge, you went through hell to get that. But what it did, it taught you a sense of discipline and duty like no other part of life can teach you. Because you know what, if you were late, you're going to wind up with Article 15. They start taking a little of that money, that little money that they gave you. They gave you a little anyway, and then you on duty 24/7.
Yes.
You can't think. If you think other than who Uncle Sam wants you to think, you might get an Article 15. You know, because we had to conform, bruh, like no other part of our community had to conform, and some of us did to the cost of death or health, right? Yeah. And he got the audacity to be talking about cutting benefits rather than increasing benefits for veterans that are disabled by their service. I dare him, man. You know, I'm walking with him right now. I hope I'm talking to him, because we need to understand. You're doing too much. You know, you're just doing too much. You done show. Ever since I've been watching, you've been showing a disregard for the laws of this country and getting away with it. Ever since I've been watching him, you know, he thought he was above the law. You know, even back there when he was nothing but a little playboy billionaire. And when those boys on the transit up there in New York got arrested for false charge, right? False charge. He put money to get them messed up, right? So when we should have known then, when it comes to us or somebody else, he want to use the law against them. But when it comes to him and now, oh well, you threatening Elon Musk. They investigated a congressman for threatening Musk. What? The man just speaking his opinion about then. He's a congressman. That's his role.
And he's just a common citizen.
No,
he's a rich one.
He's co-president, bro.
He's co-president. Basically, he's just an unelected citizen that has been promoted by the president to assist him in co-presidenting our country.
We didn't elect that man. We don't care how much money he got. See, one thing I know that, you know, the book I follow says things about rich folks, man, that all of us need to hear too. Yeah. You know, you just look at that, you know, because see, they building up treasures that they won't spend. You know, they won't spend. And see, the problem is though, not them doing that, we cooperating with them. That's the problem.
Yeah, see, they have a political party that is totally cooperating.
Now, let me say this now too. The other party was too weak to say anything about it.
Yeah,
and do anything about it when they had the responsibility. So Donald Trump and his crew should have been locked up on January 6th. That day. It shouldn't have been. It was obvious to the whole nation, man. It was on TV.
Yeah.
He committed a crime and on TV and got away with it.
Yeah. Yes.
And we didn't take note of that. That money is influencing the system. We've been knowing that all along, but you know I'm talking about now. The whole nation saw it, and you know what? He rocked them to sleep because the Democrats gave him time to do it. They said, "Oh well, you scatter me out. That's where bullies work." You know, if you don't smack him in the face when he first come up with his bully party, he gonna stay there. You can't do nothing but smack a bully. You know, you cannot cooperate with him. You cannot give him the idea that I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid of anything you can do to me. And that's what we have done and with this man here. You know, as I walk with him every day, I want him to know that don't count for everybody. You know, we're not afraid to walk with you, bro. We're not afraid to talk with you. We're not afraid to disagree with you when you're wrong. And right now, you're wrong. You're doing too much.
Yeah.
You're doing too much, and it don't smell right. You know, looking at these people on the street, it don't smell right, man. And not looking at them on the street, and then they writing reports like 700,000 really don't matter when they got enough government-owned properties that they can get them off the street right now.
Yeah.
Right this minute. And then they need to do something about the cost of rent. and housing in this country. The banks, I'm going to tell the story that they do what they want to do. They too do what they want to do. You know, they done fixed it where the average income of any middle class person, whether don't matter what the color of their skin, is not able to pay rent, have a car, child care, and have a little farm. They don't get enough money.
Yep.
They got to steal from the job. They turn them into thieves. Lack is the seed of crime, and if we address the lack in our communities, then the crime gonna go down. But we cannot address the lack when this man is taking away the Department of Education.
Yeah. Well, not just the Department of Education.
But that's just one.
All portions of the federal government.
All portions of the federal government. Downsizing.
He is removing them from good paying jobs with health care, which is really critical these days, is health care, along with the security of a retirement program. All of that is gone by a stroke of the pen.
Yeah. And see, now, let me tell you something else he's doing now. We've always lived in communities that was with a lot of toxics. Always, because that's what business kind of gravitated toward our community. Now they deregulating businesses. And you looked at what the Georgia General Assembly, they put a cap on civil suits last week. Georgia General Assembly. To make it harder for you to sue a business for them making you sick. Listen, man, veterans, come on, man. We got to come together. We need to talk. We got to do something, and we can't wait. This is not an issue where we can wait and see, right? We see, now we need to go organize, strategize, and mobilize nationally, locally, and nationally. And it should be aimed at legislative branches, those that approve the funding and approve the programs. Those are the people that we got to get back intact right now, because the dictators done whooped them and bought them. Done whooped them and bought them. They them that ain't scared, been bought. Look, they follow the money trail, bet you. The man ain't waving no saw in his hand in the White House unless he know what he think he know what he doing.
Yeah.
He know that he done bought half of the Congress. He how much they say put over $200 billion in the election. That's what we saw. That's what we saw. What we know is that he's running through our government like he own it. It's our government.
But then he told us before he was elected what he was going to do.
Well, a lot
was
of
take control of that, because he wants to be a dictator.
But see, a lot of people thought that he would just talk.
Yes.
They'd say, well, he just talking, man. He's just not a traditional politician. And I like him because he say what's on his mind. No, he's telling you what he's finna do to you.
Exactly.
That's more than what's on your mind. If somebody threaten you, what you gonna do? You start running from him, or you gonna run to him? I mean, I don't want to be looking over my shoulder if you threaten me. If I think you a real threat, we got to do so. Yeah. We cannot allow this to take place. What we see going on now is he downsizing the government so that he can put his cronies in charge of the government operations all over this country. That's his base. That's his promise to them. To some of them, we're gonna be all right. Like Brian Kemp with this line self. He need to, we need to be getting some government. I see somebody raising their head, man, that I think, I hope we can see her develop, because she can win statewide. She can win statewide because she got a base in her district where she got a reputation. Them veterans up there love Lucy McBeth. Yeah. They love this sister. She gonna tell you what she did, man. And this was after I was sitting on the commission that day she came out. This woman came to the Atlanta VA and cried. Real tears.
Yeah.
She saw how they was operating out there, and we talked to her how what was going on there. She cried, man.
Mm-hmm.
She got an empathy for veterans, and they know it. The white ones know it. All of them folks up there in her district, man, love that woman. So we need a governor, you know, that's gonna change some of that mess that they doing under Dome with legislation that's constriving to that mess that Trump is doing. Now I think that all levels of law enforcement should work together, right? So I ain't got no problem with people being trained to do ISIS kind of stuff, but I think that the federal government should oversee that, right? Because you know racism exists more on the local levels than they do on the national levels. You know, it's there, but it exists more, and you're gonna see it more in the police apparatus. And now that you got this Trump effect in control, some of those old style police, you know, gonna be raising their head again, cause he you know, kind of beckoning them to the front, like this guy telling the judge he don't care about what they say with moving them folks out of the country illegally.
Yeah.
You telling the judge that, bro? You know, that's disrespecting all the American people. You know, they going against us now. I mean, it's an attack on our service. Yeah. That means we are suckers and fools. If we sit around this hell, man, we done serve all this stuff to be happening in our country and our communities, and the opportunity to be opened up to our children like this, and you see somebody come along, they're going to get a trainsaw and just cut through it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody going to go for that. Gary, how you doing, bro? Good to see you today.
I'm blessed to be here. Yeah. Everything you're saying, I empathize with. The only answer that I can think of is we got to flip the house.
Mm-hmm. We're going to flip the House and the Senate.
There is no other resolution.
No other resolution, man. And we got to know what we got to do. We got to make them know it now. See what he got. He got them threatened with that. That's a soft threat. The reality is, him and Mark done bought most of them Republican folks, right? They done bought them. They want to be like them. They want to be billionaires, so they've been bought. We got to get them out of there. We got to go into these districts right now and be working together with all people that's resisting this stuff, man. See, Trump has raised up racism in this country like nobody has since Lester Maddox. You know, he just brought it out. You know, with the young folks too. So one of the people with Mercy, and he was a racist before it was cool. I said, okay, bro. He was a racist. I was a racist before it was cool. Young man.
It's interesting how they're using racism as a distraction too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They're using it like trying to erase all Black history, taking honorable served generals and stuff out of it, saying it's okay to be racist. At the same time, picking the pockets of everybody. It's about them Blacks, but he picking everybody's pockets.
Picking everybody's pockets.
Yeah.
You would think it would be easy to bring people together and flip the whole government upside down. You would think, but I'm with you. There's some work got to go into it.
Yeah.
Also, and Senator Warnock had a rally today, and so they've started the process already of trying to get people to start thinking about how we're going to do this.
Well, see, and I think, because they have did this, what we got to notice here. They have taken over media. They got more media power, right? So we got to start using the media better, more. You know, we got to have more people on media. More people on media. You know, broadcasters, they got that down on us, man. When we was just taking it and just talking about each other and all stupid stuff, they organizing. They organizing with it. You know, and that's what we got to do. We got to start educating our folks and bringing our folks together with media. See, they like Musk. How many million people he got on his stuff that he can shoot? Trump got one. You know, I mean, most of they control media, so they reaching more people. That's the trick. We got to get out in our communities, and we got to organize coalitions, so we can start working together. They're gonna give us more media than they got.
Watch what happens. The closer it gets to midterms, they're gonna have to start scaling some of this just onslaught of the federal government. They're gonna have to start walking a little bit back, scaling it back.
Yeah.
They can start getting people back into their camp.
Well, see, now that's why we got to get out now, right? We got to get out now. Veterans got to lead the fight too. We got to get out because all this discontent that's swerving around right now, we got to use it to make sure people understand you was duped. You was duped, and it ain't gonna change unless you change it. We've been duped. Those of us that wouldn't go vote, we've been duped, right? So it is what it is right now. But we got to go to these congressmen and senators and change their minds now, so they stop approving the rubber stamping this stuff. So we can expose him. We expose more of him to the people because he can't do any of these things that he trying to do. The Congress can cut off his money. That's what happened when they wanted to bomb Vietnam. Remember, Nixon was gonna bomb Vietnam, was gonna bomb Hanoi, which would have ended the war. The Congress wouldn't cut off the funds. See, like these different branches of the government, Congress need to stand up to this man. But if we put the pressure on them, they will. We can put more pressure on them than Trump can. But why? He's steady trying to do his stuff right now. He don't have that base contact except because all them people that he's talking about, he's trying to get them jobs. That he's trying to place them in government. But see, if we got the Congress now, if the Congress understand that, oh wait a minute, the Trump base ain't stronger than what I'm seeing in my community right now. His base ain't strong because they're gonna wipe me out. If I stand with Trump, they're gonna wipe me out.
Oh, these congressmen, their town halls, they getting cussed out.
Yeah, but see, and that's what we got to play on. We got to keep going into there, bringing people.
The closer it gets to time for us to go to the midterm, the concern is what is Trump going to do? How they gonna play it? Because right now everything's red hot, so they're gonna have to cool it off.
Yeah, but see, he's not gonna cool it off unless the Congress starts saying no. He ain't gonna cool it off because he realized if he can set all this stuff in place, he ain't gonna have no election. It ain't gonna be no elections. We can get over that. We forget it. He told us that anyway. And if you watch what he's doing, listen. If you look at what he's doing and look at how state governments are responding, county governments, look at all this stuff. He is putting into effect what he said he was gonna do. And we can't afford to wait to midterm elections. We got to get busy right now. It's like you in an ambush. You either gonna fight your way out of it or you gonna die. Because right now, he ain't waiting to midterms. That's why he doing it with such speed. You see this every day, he's throwing that shit out there like he can do it. But the Congress, at the same time, he done watch this Congress to the Speaker House look like a little worm to me. You know what I mean? He's like a little worm. Yeah, and I see him, I twins. I said, oh, this man, yeah, I thought I seen some speakers of the House that I didn't like, but this guy, man, he's just a worm. He ain't, he just stand there and think that he got the president got him and they got this him, and he gonna be the president's guy. So he gonna do whatever he want done. We got to bust the house up right now. We got to start going into these districts, rallying the folks. We got to do it. And we got to remind them why we doing it. Veterans. See, we got to remind them that, listen, man, these folks taking over our government. They putting themselves in a predicament where we ain't gonna be able to vote. They ain't gonna allow us to vote. If he got these Congress and he got the state's house, he is able to do it. legally. See, this is what I'm saying. So, and you know he's not bashful for using military and police power to enforce his will. And once he get that, it's locked down on every level, right? On every, and I'm gonna tell you what, we're feeling the effect on every level. We watched government start doing this here since Trump started on our memorial. We were supposed to get groundbreaking this last month, right? They called us to the park before this election, told us we're gonna be breaking ground. The thing been contracted and everything, and like right now I'm waiting on an email. They ain't answered the email. You know what I'm saying? See, so this is that trickle down effect where they got these worms on city. They got them everywhere. So now they done start coming out chewing that stuff. We need to stop them, and the only way we're gonna stop them is we unite the resistance. You know, start going into them communities and working now. Tell them, listen, you know, we can't wait to the election. We got to make sure that before midterm, these people that's doing this rubber stamping, they done stop rubber stamping, right? They stop rubber stamping because we're gonna put so much pressure on them. We're gonna put so much pressure on the congressmen and senators that they will stop rubber stamping them. They talking about running from the people. We're gonna make them run from the people. You know, if we go in, if we organize together, right? So now, like, I'm going to Macon next month, right? I hope I don't say something smart, Tony. I hope I don't say nothing smart because they're trip, man. But you know, I'm the only black president in the state, and I chair the Veteran Affairs Committee, so I sit on the governor's stuff and the medical center stuff. They have to call me when they have meetings, and I've been telling them that, you know, they don't care about veterans. This movement don't care about veterans, and I'm telling them how hard it's been for me to get claims through the VA. You know, it's difficult because they ain't got enough people there. It's short staff now. You know, they short staff, and the medical centers. You know, you go out to Fort McPherson, man. Here you can't find no place. You got the park way down from the thing, you know, and you got people out there that sit out there that jump on you if you knock on the door too many times. They jump on you. That's what they. And then they finally fired the boy. I don't know what, they kind of kept it out because they didn't know who was gonna charge in Fulton County of the city of Atlanta. They operate on that when that boy jumped on the Vietnam vet and beat him down. So we got problems, but you know there ain't no problem for veterans, really, because we know how to organize with each other. We know what our government should be doing and shouldn't be doing. Right now they doing too much. They cutting, downsizing the government when the government already was not able to reach all the maximum people that they need to be reaching in the community. If they were, you wouldn't be putting out reports that show homelessness like this. We don't have to. We better than that. You know, and we got enough to do that. It's just that we done lost our moral compass in this country, and we need to get back on the straight and narrow and do away with that. We got too many buildings that the government already own that we don't have to have people on the street. We don't have to have that, and we don't need to have it. And I'm gonna say this year we're gonna address that problem in Fulton County. You know, because I know the sensitivity is there. I think the motivation is there because they're expecting to have some big stuff come to Atlanta, right? You know, they don't want all that on the streets downtown. So what you gonna do about it? Let's talk about that.
Yes.
You know, let's talk about that because they can do better.
So we're going to be talking about that and other topics. So we want you here every Saturday from 4 to 5 o'clock. Veterans Talk, talking about all things veteran. we want you to visit our website. Our website has been updated, and for those of you who enjoy our show, it's a lot easier to access the program, the active program, plus the historical programs that we put out. And I guarantee you, all of our shows have been historical. So we want you to do, go to the website. One of the main things we want you to do is visit the memorial site, purchase a commemorative brick, and become a part of the history of Atlanta in Piedmont Park during the Vietnam War. So for those of you who are following us, follow us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, and next Saturday, 4 o'clock, be here. Same story, same time. Veterans talking about all things veterans. See you next week.